Dudes, today is April 12th, 2025. Why do I mention that? Because tomorrow it's not going to be that date anymore. But it is the date we are doing this live stream right now. How much cool stuff do I have to show you today? Well, you've seen the show before. You know how cool things get on this show right here. First thing I want to mention is, no, not that. Let's talk about the Free Comic Book Day stuff. "20 people in staff, and we can't even." Okay, we are launching a new draw book. How to draw a book. I can't even spell it right. On Free Comic Book Day. You guys know the one. It's this one right here. It's the modified version of How to Draw the Animated Nexus, but we're going to call it Steve Rude's How to Draw. I guess that makes sense. And it starts in May.
May 3rd is when it launches.
Why does it say the 1st then? It says the 1st of Saturday in May.
First Saturday, so that's the 3rd of May.
Okay, I don't get that at all. It's either the 1st or the 2nd. Anyway, in May, we're going to be launching that book. And what else do we have to know about that? Oh, we're real prepared here today. We need to raise $1 billion, correct? That's right. No one told me that. Good thing I'm smart. I don't know how much money we need to make this thing happen, but it's going to be a lot. Let me see the other ones.
What's the other book that we have?
The Art of Steve Rude, 2025, now shipping. Art lessons inside. Well, I'm thrilled to hear about that. What else do we have here? Not that one. What's the next one? What else? Well, it's a little late for that, isn't it? Well, this goof prints it off. Okay, let's start off with this one here. Why don't I want to give art lessons? Because it's boring. I'm told that the majority of questions that come in from people that watch YouTube and ask artists questions are things like, what pencil do you use? Or what size brush do you use? Guys, there are a million people out there that can tell you that stuff. That just isn't stuff I want to be talking about. God, I hate ill-preparedness. It makes me not even want to go on sometimes. What do you expect with a staff of 2? Let me see the other ones you have up there. Okay. No, not that. No. This is ridiculous. No. All right, here's what I do want to talk about, because this one's been pissing me off for 7 years. 7 years ago, I'd been promised by Mike Richardson from Dark Horse, a good friend of mine, that he was going to help me get my Nexus show on the air. But somehow things got drastically distorted from there, and instead of him serving my purposes, he was starting to serve his own. Mike Richardson is a multimillionaire. And the problem with multimillionaires is that they don't listen. They don't listen to anyone but themselves. So having not listened to what I want after I've been telling him that for the last 30 years, he proceeded to go off on his own with a guy named Brandon Barr from an outfit called Trioscope. That's what they wanted to do with our character, not what I wanted to do. It really pissed me off. And so what happened was, if you want to know what Trioscope is, it was something that I was kind of amenable to in the beginning, but then it just got way too what's that damn word? God, I hate it when I can't think of the right words. Contentious. Good. Okay, about time. So what happened was it went from everything. Well, let's see how this works out. Maybe I'll like it. Maybe I won't. But in the meantime, I got completely cut out of the creative process. So what proceeded to happen for the next 5 years is try to imagine this. You own the character. It's my character. This is what I want to do with it. Make a cartoon show out of it. And instead of getting feedback from these so-called creative people, especially this bar guy from Trioscope, I get nothing. I write letters. I have all these ideas. And what do I get back? That sounds like a good idea, Steve. That's what I get back. And I continued to get that back for at least 5 years until I hired a lawyer. Now, why I didn't hire a lawyer in the first place? One, I hate lawyers. Everyone does. But in this case, what are you going to do? We read over their stupid contract from Dark Horse and Trioscope. It seemed fine, but no, it wasn't. It had so much hidden garbage in there that I found out later on that were completely one-sided and designed to screw me up upside Sunday. That just came to an end. So that's the big announcement I wanted to mention right now. Is their hold on Nexus and the crap that they wanted to do with it is now null and void. Thank God. You know, there's something very funny about people that work in the business of this Hollywood sphere. I don't think they are capable of listening. I don't think they're capable of an original thought. I don't think they want to listen. I think they're total narcissists. Whatever they want, they get. And according to everything I went through with Richardson and Barr, it was proven 100 times over. So that is finally gone, okay? And what am I going to do now? Well, I still have the billions of pre-production things with my show, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. And I don't think it's ever going to happen because mainly the reasons cited earlier. There's no one brave enough to try this. There's no one with the insight to want to try this. There's no one with the money worthy to have those other two things to try it. And I'm just fed up with these idiots that have no belief in what I could be giving them. Now, I'm not the first guy to go through this crap with a property. This is Hollywood is known for its idiocy, its endless moronic behavior. But I'm particularly sensitive to not putting up with it. Okay, so my prediction after pursuing this thing for 40 years is that you really think this is going to happen? I mean, I was looking for the guy that had all this together, and after 40 years, if I'm not going to find that person, it's not going to happen. Bizarrely, I keep working on the show. I keep having fun with it. But the people that, the partner that I'm looking for, the second half, with all the things that I need money-wise, I don't need it creatively, I need it money-wise, and someone who is actually honest, well, good luck with that, Shirley. That's never going to happen. It's a very funny thing, this project here, to go this long and not have a single honest person. You know, Bruce Lee talked about this. He goes, by the time he was getting really into into the worldwide fame realm, one of his comments was, in all of Hong Kong, I can't find a single businessman who is honest. Well, believe me, folks, it doesn't just apply to Hong Kong. We got some demos coming up here, and I think they're going to be fun. People want me to do drawings all the time. I don't want to do drawings. I mean, they're kind of boring to me. And if I'm going to be bored, I mean, what's the point of even having this live stream thing here? What I like to do are things that challenge me. And one of them is watercolor. Why watercolor? Because it's hard. We are not going to the moon. because it's easy. We're going to the moon because it's hard. All right? Does that sum it up? All right. So we're going to be starting that in a little bit here. But God, I hate people. I think they're so stupid. Which camera are we looking at here? Is that the one right there? I've been looking at this one the whole time. Something cool I was doing the other day. Trying to simplify my hands. I always have a hard time with hands. I hate drawing them. So I took some Alex Toth stuff, who really knows how to abbreviate hands. And I made these big sheets right here for my own learning purposes, for my own edification and education. So this is something I commonly do right here when I need to learn more. I mean, after all this time, whatever I need to learn something better, learn something better about, I just kind of resort to things like this now. I don't think I ever did in my early days, but now it's like, just shut up and paste them up. You're going to learn something from them. So that was kind of fun. You got some interesting letters here. Now here's a good one here. This is a guy that's looking forward to the future right here, and he has a hard time with it. Now I'll explain here. Hey Steve, could you one day, which is today, talk about AI in the future of art? I've been feeling really depressed about the state of things. He goes, I'm 24, and I feel like my life, having my life have any meaning or impact is going to come to a conclusion real fast because of AI. I hope I'm proven wrong. Well, other people have asked me that stuff. There's two reactions people have when these new dumbass things come up. One is that this is what people do with their lives. They invent new things and they get $1 million off a trademark, and they're happy. All they care about is that what they thought they were doing is something helpful to the world, and to a lot of people it is. The people that work with machine art, as I call it, are very happy doing that, and very few use traditional medium anymore. I happen to think it's despicable. I will never convert to that garbage because I don't care about the pressure people can exert over me, as in, you won't get work, Steve, unless you convert. Well, you don't do that to me. I'm going to stay true to what I like, what I believe in, and that's the way it is. So all you machine guys, carry on the way you are. I hope you're happy. I think a lot of them aren't. I think they do it because they're wimps. Faces. I was thinking a lot about faces. Now, one of the latest things I have in the back of my head to improve my own work, which is, look, it's ongoing, people. You never master anything, and you're always, no matter what stage you're at, there's always something you don't know. So, if you are someone that perceives things that you know that you need to make things easier, there's certain things you can do. And I notice that in the stage that I'm at with my painting and drawing, there's something that I really have to push to the point where I can't make any mistakes like this ever again, and that is making people look alive. Now, if you look through my latest Nexus books, the panels in black and white with ink and brush, if they don't look alive, they're not real. If they do look alive, I succeeded. And I'm going to show you some examples of people here, many times my superior, that are pristine examples, are perfect examples of what I call being alive. Okay, here's one of them. This is my friend, my old friend Harry Anderson, now deceased, but I got to know him very well. Take a look at that kid's face. Now, is that kid alive or what? That kid is alive. And if you think this thing is based on luck or just having a good day and happy to pull it off, you would be incorrect. The reason this guy is my idol is because he's essentially flawless. And everything that I am trying to be and have always tried to be is reflective in this totally real looking person's emotional look. So I just I can't get over how perfect it is. Oh, look what we have now, another Harry Anderson. I wonder why that is. So you see these two kids that are using old-fashioned things that we don't use anymore, but at the time they did. Everything changes. Obviously, they're not using AI. They're using the stuff that was available at the time. Look at the faces on these two kids. Look at them carefully. And you'll see what I see is that they're alive. They are so realistically rendered in an artistic way, not a slavish detail kind of a way, but then in a very fluid brushwork kind of a way that Harry Anderson was so good at. I was told by Dan Zimmer, who puts out the the books on bios and illustrators, that he put out about 7 books on artists. And I was one of the guys that talked him into doing a Harry Anderson book. Well, I'm told that this Harry Anderson book was one of the worst sellers in the entire lot. God, I don't know what to think sometimes. You know, Harry used to work for something called the Review and Herald. It was a religious outfit. It was an actual publishing house. And these stupid bastards, in all the time that Harry worked for them for chump change, never once thought about using their publishing house facilities to publish a book on the guy. I remember when I visited the place one time, I was down in the basement where all the old art is kept. None of it was ever returned. For $200, Harry worked for the next 20 years, working for those wages right there. And these religious guys, in all their piety, never thought, or would never even entertain the thought, that he might need some backup money when things got tough in the 1960s. But no, they did not think like that. In fact, when I was there, the president comes marching down with a couple of his flunkies, and he looks at me, this big tall guy, and he goes, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" "Well, nice to meet you too, Jack. I'm a friend, and I'm here to look at his art. Is that okay with you?" It never came to blows, but I would have been happy if it had. These guys, you know how Martin Luther King said, "I judge people by the content of their character." Well, if that's true, most of everyone I've ever met is in real trouble. Next one. Okay, you can't go wrong with Norman Rockwell here. Can you really go wrong? No, you can't. And all these hoity-toity jackasses that were in the 50s and slamming the work of realism, like the brain-dead people that they are, because everyone goes through these idiotic phases. You're the greatest, and then you're the worst, and then you're forgotten, and then you're revived. And this is the perpetual cycle of human stupidity. Now, if you look at these faces right here, I'm here to tell you that there is no one on earth that could paint better than Norman Rockwell. Do I need to follow it up with more hyperbole? I hope not, because he's the best. Anyone throughout history would look at his work and say, I couldn't touch the guy. So all these Renaissance masters that everyone goes on and on about to sound so smart, smarter than they really are. Yes, there's some of the artists in history are phenomenal. Most are phenomenal, the guys that really deserve it. This lowly illustrator deserves it as much as anyone who ever lived. So we're going to move that aside. We need money. We need money here to do this free comic book day thing. So fork it over, okay? We're going to go over to here, right here, to my lovely watercolor start, and I want to explain why I did this the way I did, because the dude is an explainer. This is by a guy named Zhuaming Wu. He's this really nice Chinese guy, and he's got a book out. He teaches up in San Francisco, and he's just you talk about decent people. You couldn't get a more decent, humble guy than Zhuaming. And I've never met the guy, but if I did, he'd probably have a hard time understanding my American accent. But this guy has got everything going on. Take a look at what he's got. One of the things he does all the time is he doesn't really focus on faces. He does that in his black and white work. But for some reason, when he does his paintings, he avoids the human face. I think he just wants to take the emphasis off the face in more of the larger forms with color, with negative space, and just the general gesture of the pose. So I happen to like this a lot. And remember, this is how I learn things, guys. This is how I learn things all the time. I copy greater artists than myself. Do I have a good time doing it? Well, I've been doing it for 40 years. I must have a good time doing it. This is a Chinese brush. I guess is apropos for working with Zhuaming. Let's start off with something. You got to start somewhere, right? I'm going to do a really light wash here of this color. I think I'm going to start there for no particular reason. And I'm going to wash it in big time, all right? We're just going to blow it in there. No fuss, no muss. This is Langrel, whatever the hell. I don't know what it's called. It's some watercolor paper, okay? So let's block this in the way I see it here. This is watercolor. Zhuaming worked in oil paint. I've always been really so taken with watercolor because it looks, it's the kind of thing you start off kids doing. But you don't see many professional artists doing it anymore because it became transcendently difficult, and I don't know why that is. I mean, why should that be? I don't know. Some things I know, most I don't. The reason this Chinese brush is kind of a good thing is because because it's versatile. If it wasn't, people would not be so big on using this stuff here. So that's number one. One of the things my old teacher from the Art Students League taught me was getting the background in first. So being the smart guy that I am, and knowing that small brushes don't accomplish what needs to be a big area, I'm just going to take this. This is the biggest Chinese brush I have right here. General, whatever the hell his name is. Okay, so we're going to grab this huge freaking brush right here, and I got to figure out what color that is. Okay, so that's like this super light orangish kind of a thing. So I'm going to mix up, this really light stuff, and that's basically what it is. You get lighter values by using more water. When you're using real paint, you got to mix it with white. I can have some bleeding here. Let's do it like this right here. Not that it's a big deal. This is watercolor, for Christ's sake. What do you expect it to do? What I've done already here is I've put in landmark notes. I call them notes. And I'll explain what that means when I have my head together here. What it means. What does it mean, Steve? I forgot the damn question. Yeah, so you use a lot of water to get the right values in watercolor, which is the exact opposite of any opaque paint, which is pretty much anything else that you use, including pastel. Let's try something goofy here. I think this color right here, you see that color? That's a bluish kind of a, I think if I use blue and, I could actually use black if I wanted to. Let's kick a little more blue in there. It's a very grayish kind of blue color, okay? Now, the other thing about watercolor is that if it's going to dry, it's generally going to be lighter. When you use opaque things, it's almost always drying darker. So that makes for a wonderful confusion for even people as seasoned as I, the dude. Let's put this stuff in right here. Okay, so that's what I'm working with so far. I decided to do something kind of bizarre here. Big surprise, right? I wanted to do this thing right over here to kind of fence it off, just so I could focus on this kind of stuff. If you're not using enough paint on your brush, you're going to have to do more layering and layering and layering, and that's just going to take the steam out of your wheels by having to do that. This is very good paper right here, this Langer or whatever the hell you call it. There's so many different watercolor papers. The main thing about watercolor paper is to get pro stuff. I had a girl coming over for lessons yesterday, and she was painting a horse for some rich guy. I never meet the rich guys, but she was painting a horse, and I said, let me try your paints. By the way, this happens all the time. When things are too wet, you got to wipe it off. Just wipe it off. It's still wet. The paper can take it, and so can you. I think the best thing to do for this is, I almost forgot, it's kind of do your wiping thing like that. And you can pick it up even better. Well, I'm glad I thought of that. A little dense sometimes, but eventually our brain power does in fact come when it's needed. This one too. Squeeze, squeeze. We're removing staff and having fun. All right, so, okay, let's bring it upright again. Anyway, so this lady brought over her new acrylics, and I said, let me try these here. So I tried them, and my worst worries came to fruition. She was using student grade paint. What is student grade paint? Like, I got to explain it, right? Well, it's something that fools students thinking because it's cheap, it's actually good paint. But no. What it is a paint filled with more filler than it is paint. So you have these really crappy effects that you get. You all know what I'm talking about. You've all been to art school. You know what I mean. You've all been through it. I'm just here to remind you of how bad student grade paint is. Some people actually use it. For whatever the hell reason, they can't explain it right to me. But it's just plain stupid. But hey, when you're a student, that's what you look for. You look for the price. Always the price. And I was the same dumb way myself. Nothing but dumb. Okay, so I'm kind of sort of half-toned this area right here where it kind of goes into it like that. It's kind of a little too broad, so I'm going to take that down a little bit by going like that. I've been working with watercolor, working with transparent watercolor for so long. I think I should just give it up. But no, I'm the dude, so there's no chance of that possibly happening. There's no giving up here. There is no try, only do. And I'm trying to do right now, which you can see. Got a nice letter from Marvel the other day. Tom Brevoort. He's one of the editors I worked with on a lot of the stuff I did during the 90s, a lot of miniseries. He's always been a very cordial guy. Why he's still up there suffering through the current politics of Marvel is really the real test of why this guy's sanity level here, his tolerance level. But onward he goes, and I think he's one of the only older type guys that's even still there. You know, guys over 20. So let's start with the figure. I've got everything blocked in here with pretty much a good version of all the background elements. Now, for some reason, I'm getting this glare in my thing right here. It drives me nuts. You saw, and I explained earlier, these landmark little things, these little accents right here. That's to keep them intact so that when I get to these areas, I know that they're there, and they're gonna stay there. They're not gonna go anywhere. They're gonna stay there. Here's a very, very interesting thing right here. Reflected light. Now, who doesn't know what reflected light means? Of course, you all know that. I don't need to tell you what that's all about. But for the few that ask, all right, I suppose. Reflected light is when something is bouncing into a shadow. When you bounce it into a shadow, it changes colors. If you have blue skin and you have a yellow or an orange object over here bouncing into it, it's going to be kind of orange, a mixture of orange and blue. But because this skin color is pinkish, it's going to be nothing but this intense pink color here. And watercolor is you get blends in watercolor by having the paper wet. You don't always have to have it wet. Look, sometimes this stuff can be so tricky. If it wasn't tricky, I wouldn't have spent 20 years trying to learn the damn thing. All right, let's get into another area right here. I don't know if you can see my palette. It doesn't really matter. You've seen it many times before. Let's just slap it in there, okay? I'm not wetting the paper before I put it in, all right? So that's probably a good thing to know. Okay. Now from here, that's the main statement. The secondary statement is that it's not a hard edge. It's actually kind of soft, so you need to put in a color that is softer to make the transition to show that it's a round form. Be very careful with these things. Sometimes they can be almost cut with a knife, like when it's outside. The light and the shadow area have a very sharp area of separation. I can see. I'm going to put some black in here. You know, the color everyone hates and says you can't use it. Well, okay, here we go. So I need to get darker here. Now, the first wash dried, it looked fine, but now watercolor often involves layering. I'm not talking about Larry, your neighbor. I'm talking about layering. But you never know. Larry, your neighbor, may be layering at this very moment. So I need some really dark stuff going on here. But where the dark is placed is not random. Nothing is random in this form here. See how it's not working it, but I'm supposed to be spreading the bristles apart. That's part of the versatility of these Chinese deals here. I get my brushes through a guy named Henry Lee. Figures, right? Henry Lee is a very funny guy. He can speak English, which of course I admire anyone for. It is a secondary language, but I don't know, you know, it's just kind of it's a funny thing talking to him. I kind of look forward to it. Anyone who's unpretentious, I tend to like. Oh, this what did I call it? This altercation that took place last week. You guys have little to worry about with that. Had I the opening to deal with this guy, he would have been in a hospital about now. But he was a genuine psychopath, and I don't look favorably on psychopaths. What I look even less on is people that allow them to get away with things. So I'm hoping that when I see this guy in court, he'll try something so I can beat the living out of him next time. It's really funny when the cops showed up like 12 hours later. I mentioned, well, this guy was in there working on his three dune buggies and his 7 motorcycles in his garage. And the cops would say to me, as they did, well, that doesn't necessarily mean that has nothing to do with anything, really. Okay, so nobody that has those kind of vehicles has ever been a dick, right? They've never been loud. They've never been people that care nothing about the neighborhood and how loud they are when they go mowing down. I guess I'm the only one that thought that was a problem. The cops thought it was a joke. I'm going to start a fan club of people that hate authority. So just write in your complaints and we'll talk about them and get them out of the way. And decide if they're really worth being taken seriously or not. Okay, so we can spread this paint right here, kind of over the whole thing. The only like real light area is over here, and it's actually white. So we're gonna be circumspect and be careful where we put things here. One of the things I learned from my last watercolor, the Frazetta one, was when the paint started to half dry, it got blotchy, and I don't like that. That's not how I like things to look. So what I learned the hard way, which is apparently the only way I can learn anything, is to let that area dry and then go into it. Because if you let it dry and you go into it a little later on, it's much easier to control the things that you're supposed to control. The shoulder blade is supposed to be a little sharper, so I'm going to pick up some of that. It's not picking it very well to me. This is certainly going to be a hard edge because that's where the acromion, whatever the hell it's called, it's in your back where the shoulder blades are. Chromium process, whatever. That's for college types. This area, if you look very carefully at this area, I can see what's going on here. Joamin is very, very subtle about how he applies these tones here. And what I'm trying to do is get this thing back to, here, I'm just going to scrub the damn thing. And kind of get it down to a base, the base dark color that I started as. Put a little black in there. Oh, that's really going to kill it. And I'm going to reinstate it, okay? Hopefully without a lot of rib cage, midsection. And I don't know if it's going to work because chances are this stuff is going to spread in ways that I don't really want it. Folks, you can try this at home. Kids, you can try this at home, but no, just no, it's not going to be easy. You can also do a lot of lifting with watercolor, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. Because if you lift too much, all you're going to do is keep lifting the paint off the area that you already put down. And that is not fun. There's always a catch, folks. No matter what you do in life, there's always a catch. Let's reinforce this a little bit right here. Why do people on YouTube always come across the same way? Hey, it's me. I'm back again, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about, it's just not me. So if you miss those kind of guys, they're everywhere. Ignore the Steve Root channel. Go right to those guys, and you will have your every wish fulfilled. Imagine going 7 years with somebody who you thought you could trust it for your TV show, and it all turned out to be a colossal joke in the end. There just has to be a hell, doesn't there? Okay, so this one worked okay. Doesn't mean the other ones are. That hip area is a very specific area right there, and I'm going to try to modify it a little bit. Is it easy? Yeah, I wish. I don't know what to tell you guys, that you artists out there. This is, the people that want to give up and all that stuff. I don't blame them for that. The only problem is that what is your life going to be about? If it's not about getting what you want in life, to me, it's not a life. So the guy that wrote in about the AI thing, you can never stop these things from happening. And for some reason, it doesn't bother me. I mean, it's not going to affect anything I do. I'm always going to be painting this way, no matter what the invention comes along that's going to tell me how I should be doing things or else. So yeah, we should all join. We should all be part of the Maverick Society of America right here. There's going to be dues, fees. I think it's going to be along the $1,000 mark, so I can use that to fix my fence. And art supplies, that's optional. Boy, that is dark. So it's time to get out the black. Thanks, Joamin Wu.
We have a comment in from a commenter named Motto. He says, "Hi Steve, I'm 19 and just started taking art seriously. I'm studying figure drawing for all it's worth. Is it too late to start at 19? And what's your best advice for someone who wants to be a comic artist?"
I've had guys walk up to me at conventions and they're 55 years old, and they want to know the same thing. You're just starting your life. Once you're out of high school, your life officially starts, and the reason for that is because it's you against the world. If you're looking for a hand holder, you had it for the first 12 years of your life. Now that time is over. It's time to find out what you're made of, and if you are made of the right stuff, you will succeed. Yeah, some of this stuff right here can get a little goofy. Like over here, I have to erase that, and you erase that by scrubbing it. God, maybe there is a purpose for this channel right here. When these poor guys write in and think they're 19 and they're over the hill, boy. I'm just trying to imagine what other people would tell them. The one thing you never do when you're dealing with people is to discourage them. The world, in and of its own, is going to do that plenty, but you don't need to accelerate that, taking people's dreams away by telling them how the world is so big and bad. We all know that it's incredibly compromised. There's very few honest people in the world. And people are, to me, just weird. the things they go after in life. So it is. I've often said that in a mortal life, you don't escape anything. Every single thing you could ever go through, no matter how hard or trying it is, it's waiting to happen to you. Now, some of that is okay. We want to be tested. Other things are beyond, are just plain sick and sadistic. Like when a parent loses a kid, or your best friend gets killed, or something like that, which explains my absolute devotion to atheism. But that's what you're in for. People always use that train ride analogy. Well, it's not this. You don't think of it as a destination. You think of it as it's just part of the ride. And if you're lucky, or maybe not, you'll have a long ride. The best people in the world are very functional. They're very emotionally functional, which would count me out. But I know a lot of happy people. Mostly I see these little girls running around, and they're just like those little girls that I helped with their painting in Cottonwood at the little Cottonwood convention 2 weeks ago. These girls were so funny. They had not a fear in the world. So apparently it hadn't been drilled into them yet. And I said to their mom, I said, these girls give me hope. And by God, they did. Time to go to the hair. There's a lot of dark in here. To me, that means black. To other people, it means, oh no, you don't use that because my teacher told me you don't use that. Black is not a color. God, I want to kill people like that. And maybe I will someday. The crap that my teacher, Mr. Campen, said, the reason I became an art teacher was because I hated art teachers. I kind of never forgot that one. Art teachers, or just people in general, are responsible for more nonsense, more things to screw up your head than anyone I know. Wisdom is really at a premium in the world. If you're looking for it, let me know who you find, because I've been looking for it my whole life. I have never found it, which is sad, slightly.
We are at the 50-minute mark.
Okay, guys, did you hear that? This is the 50-minute mark. That means I got 10 more minutes to hold your attention, which probably is long ago expired. So you can see what this show is all about here. This show is not about the average this and that. This show is not about what pencil do you use, or what colors you use, or how to clean your underwear if your mom's not around. This is not the channel for that. But you're in luck, because you can find that anywhere. Everyone does that in their channels. I just don't. I'm just not that way. Do I look like I'm that way? No. Where's a brush to really take care of business here? Well, there's never the brush you want when you need it. I really hate that. So we use a sort of brush that I wanted. Yeah, if you're looking for the truth with as little dysfunction as possible, you've come to the right place. I think it's almost impossible for somebody to make it through in this world sometimes because of all the crap you hear. When I turned 50, one of the things that I realized is that somebody came into my head and said, Rude, you need to take all the voices you've accumulated, all the art teacher advice, all the advice period, and dispel it. Get rid of it, dump it. And what remains is what you should keep. Everything else has to go. That is not easy to do. Most people do not want to take responsibility for their mental health. Actually, Barron told me that a long time ago. I must have been moaning about something when I was like 21. He goes, Rude, you're responsible for your own mental health. And, my mom used to say that to me when I was whining about dumb stuff, like going to the dentist and feeling tons of pain. She goes, Steve, there are people in the Vietnam War right now that are suffering in ways that you can't even understand. So perspective is not really a bad thing to have in this world. This is about as far as we're going to get here in this. I'm going to finish up the hair a little bit. I see that the hair is kind of a brownish deal. I'm going to put a little orange in there because it kind of has orange in there. So you let me know if you want to sign up for the Maverick Club of America. The dues are steep because I need art supplies. Life is hard, guys. It's got a lot of stuff in it that you wish you'd never had to go through. And the only reason you do is because people are very different. I want to say they're hopeless assholes, but we don't say that on YouTube. You are utterly responsible for your life. It should be no way other than that. This is your life. It's been stamped on your forehead since birth. And I remember something George Perez said. George was a wonderful guy. I really liked him. And he put out something a long time ago that I bet that nobody remembers, but of course I do, because I took it so seriously. There was a picture of him in the back of a fanzine, and he was doing one of these "I Want You" flag posters. And he says, don't do what I did. Don't try to get in the back door with favors from friends when you're not ready to get in at all. He says, don't do what I did. And I just thought that was the most wonderful thing that he would say that. Another really sad thing to me is seeing people age. Remember, I had a girlfriend. She goes, well, I'm looking forward to being a grandmother someday. Well, I wonder what she's thinking about that now. Your youth is stripped away. The prime of your looks is taken from you. Ailments come in, more doctor appointments than you ever thought were capable of. And there's the knee stuff. I always hear about this knee stuff. Oh, my knees are going. I need knee replacements. I need brain replacements. Well, I'm looking into that. But it just takes time, folks, to figure all this out. Why doesn't it come faster? Why doesn't it come when you wish it so? Well, because mortal life does not allow that. There's a lot of things it does. Oh, isn't that a Captain Kirk line? There's a lot of things you can get in this world, Charlie, and a lot of things you can't. This is one of them. You guys that didn't grow up in Star Trek, I feel so bad for you. Yes, there's the reruns, but to be there when it really counted, oh boy. Let's just call it in right now. There's some problems over here that I can't get rid of. I need to scrub some of these things out. We'll do our best in the few seconds we have remaining here. Raise your hand if you're bored and left me a half hour ago, because I kind of want to know. When I was in the 7th grade, my teacher told me the average attention span of people nowadays is 15 minutes. Well, that was back in 1970. Try to imagine what it is now. Is it even above the minute mark? I really have to scrub this paper right here to get where I want to. And if not, I have to go opaque. That's the way it is for the way I understand things. In fact, let's do this. Let's do this right now. Let's just get it out of the way. This is going to help me get the creaminess back. Now remember, this stuff is dries darker rather than lighter with watercolor. But I want to get that look back, which is softness and not a bunch of scrubbed up stuff. Botoxes, as you know, at least when I was growing up, when women were women and men were men, had tan lines, and this is where they had the tan lines, is right around these areas here. They don't have that anymore because everyone's got covered up with tattoos, my favorite thing of all. And I look forward to it never coming back, because I know the way people are. They cling to their little habits like their life depends on it. I wish I could be like that, like everyone else. But I'm told by some power I've never quite understood, it's not the way for you, Steve. So not being the guy to argue with everything in the world, just most stuff, I knew that was something I just had to, okay, all right, I'm glad you let me know. The Botox has a very specific shape here. The Botox. And is that as far as we're going to get today?
We just passed the hour mark.
We just passed the hour mark? Well, I tell you, there's no justice out there. Let's put a little bit of just the tiniest bit of reflected light in here, and it's going to be done with opaque paint here, because I just think I need it. I've never been one to be a purist in watercolor because I've never been good enough to be that. So we have literally about a minute to wrap this up. That's how I'm going to solve that one. Doesn't look bad. Doesn't look great. Doesn't look bad. Okay. This one needs softening right here. So soften we shall. I encourage you all to look at the work of a master artist named John Gannum. An artist that almost nobody knows. Why that is because life is not fair. That is one thing a guy that I no longer admire told me a long time ago, and I quite understood that. Life is not fair. But as long as it's not fair, expect all the unfairness you could ever imagine. Okay, so that's going to be the painting for today. Don't forget these that I held up for examples of real live people, and that's what I'm shooting for. Don't forget the question this guy wrote in about AI, saying what about the future of art? I don't care. It's going to do what it's going to do, okay? And free comic book day. I'm told we need to make a lot of money. No one has told me how much, but it can never be enough. Why is that? So that's going to be in May. Free comic book day. Really, they're free, huh? Well, sounds like a deal to me. I'm going to go back to oil painting. That's what I've been doing before I started this right here. I'm always practicing this stuff. And don't forget, I have to practice my hands. Is that it? So I'll just say auf Wiedersehen, and hasta luego, and ciao. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.